The Nile begins its majestic journey in the highlands of Ethiopia, where Lake Tana feeds the mighty Blue Nile, the river's most powerful branch. From these elevated lands, water rushes down through misty valleys, carving its path over cliffs and forming the spectacular Blue Nile Falls. This river alone contributes more than 85% of the Nile's total water and fertile soil, especially during the rainy season, carrying life to lands far beyond its origin. It is a river of immense power, a river that has shaped civilizations and inspired myths for millennia. The highlands of Ethiopia are a land of striking beauty and rich history. Villagers tend terraces of teff, barley, and wheat, relying on the river's waters to nourish their crops. Monasteries perched on islands in Lake Tana preserve sacred manuscripts, some centuries old, bearing witness to Ethiopia's profound spiritual and cultural heritage. The Blue Nile's waters not only sustain life, but also preserve the memory of generations, flowing quietly as the lifeblood of this ancient land. As the Blue Nile descends into Sudan, it meets the calmer, steadier waters of the White Nile at Khartoum. The White Nile begins in the distant highlands of Burundi and Rwanda, flowing through lakes and wetlands, including the immense Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa. While the White Nile carries less water, its consistency ensures that the Nile continues to flow year-round, even when the rains subside in Ethiopia. Together, the Blue and White Nile form a river of extraordinary strength and history. From their confluence in Khartoum, the Nile embarks on its long voyage northward. In Sudan, it weaves through landscapes of striking contrasts. Lush riverbanks flourish with crops and villages, yet just beyond the water's reach, the harsh deserts stretch endlessly under the blazing sun. Here, the river is a thin ribbon of life, bringing sustenance, trade, and hope to all who live along its banks. The pyramids of Meru stand sentinel in this land, silent reminders of civilizations that once flourished under the Nile's protection, long before the age of the pharaohs. Entering Egypt, the Nile assumes a role that is nothing short of divine. For thousands of years, the river's annual floods deposited rich, fertile silt across the Nile delta and valley, allowing crops to flourish in what would otherwise be barren desert. Wheat, barley, and flax grew abundantly, providing the foundation for one of the world's greatest civilizations. The Egyptians revered the river as Hapi, the god of fertility and abundance, offering prayers and ceremonies to honor the life-giving waters that shaped every aspect of their existence. Along its banks rose magnificent cities, temples, and pyramids. Luxor and Karnak, with their towering columns and intricate hieroglyphs, tell stories of pharaohs who ruled with power and wisdom. In the Valley of the Kings, tombs of the greatest rulers hold treasures and secrets, their existence made possible only because the Nile sustained the land and its people. The river is not merely water, it is history, culture, and memory flowing together in one eternal current. The Nile continues to shape modern life, as it has for thousands of years. Today, more than 300 million people depend on its waters. Modern engineering projects, including the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and the Aswan High Dam, regulate its flow, provide electricity, and support irrigation. Cities like Cairo, Khartoum, and Jinja thrive along its banks, while farmers use ancient and modern techniques to coax life from the river's soil. Yet, the Nile is also a source of tension, as nations share its waters and navigate questions of resource management and survival. As the river approaches northern Egypt, it fans out into the vast and fertile Nile Delta. Here, it divides into multiple branches, creating one of the most productive agricultural regions on the continent. The Delta is home to millions of people, sustaining countless farms, villages, and cities. Life along these waterways continues much as it has for generations. Fishermen cast their nets, farmers tend their fields, and children play along the banks, carrying forward traditions intertwined with the river's flow. The Nile's journey is also a story of nature and wildlife. Crocodiles, hippos, and fish thrive in its waters. Birds migrate along its path, resting and nesting in its wetlands. Reeds and papyrus line the river banks, providing habitats for countless creatures. The river is not only a source of human civilization, but also a haven for the natural world, demonstrating the delicate balance between life and water. From Ethiopia's highlands to the Mediterranean Sea, the Nile carries with it the history of humanity. It is a river of abundance, a river of stories, and a river that binds nations and cultures together. Its waters have witnessed empires rise and fall, civilizations grow and disappear, and countless lives dependent on its generosity. The Nile is eternal, flowing onward with the same power and promise that has sustained life for thousands of years. The story of the Nile is far from over. As long as its waters continue to flow, it will remain a lifeline, a legend, and the pulse of history. It is a river that connects people, nourishes lands, and carries the memory of civilizations from the highlands of Ethiopia to the shores of the Mediterranean. The Nile is life itself, flowing ceaselessly through time, a story that will never end.